9 dangerous mistakes that new gun owners make. I'm going to go down through these, and if you could just give some color commentary on each one, we can banter back and forth. So, 9 dangerous mistakes that new gun owners make. This comes off of a record year over the holiday as far as gun sales. FBI has done a record number of background NICS checks on Black Friday. About 2 per second. Think about that.
Oh, wow.
They had 2 NICS backgrounds per second. Safe to say, if you got a gun for Christmas, welcome to the club. But we don't want to be Ralphie. We don't want to shoot our eye out, right?
That is very true. Yep.
So here are some things that may be very obvious to a lot of you, and might be something that would be useful to a lot of you new gun owners. Failing to safety check. This is, I think, the primo one. Safety checks, Craig.
That's probably the biggest one, or one of the biggest ones. I mean, you want to make sure before you start to handle a firearm that it is free and clear of all ammunition.
Whether you walked away 30 seconds ago and came back in and it's still sitting in the same place you put it, you check it again.
Yep. If it has not been in your complete, total physical and mental control, I mean, if you're messing with something, you pick it up and you can't quite remember,
you assume it's loaded.
You assume it's loaded.
Yep.
And actually, the general rule is every gun is always loaded all the time. You treat it that way, and things go better.
Good. Number 2, not pointing the gun in a safe direction is a mistake new gun owners make.
Yes. It's called flagging. Basically, you need to treat that gun, whatever that muzzle's pointing at, has the potential to be destroyed or killed. And it's real easy to forget that.
Then you have a bad day on your hands.
Then you have a bad day on your hands.
Whether it's hurting yourself or hurting somebody else.
Yep.
I forget who told me this, but somebody always told me when I was learning gun safety that just picture a laser coming out the edge and like a lightsaber.
Yep.
Anywhere you're pointing it, it's just cutting down everything in front of it. And if you keep that in mind every time you handle a gun, then you should be pointing it in a safe direction at all time.
Yep.
Number 3, this is a term that I was not aware of. New gun owners don't index.
Yeah, you were asking me about that, and actually I have to be honest, that was a term I wasn't super familiar with either, and it's just probably a regional thing. It's called different things. Trigger discipline. Basically, the little loop that, the trigger guard that goes around the trigger, your finger don't go into that space until you are ready to fire the weapon. Otherwise, your finger is never, ever on that trigger. And that's a big one you see all the time. You see that in Hollywood and, in all the movies. They're carrying it with their finger on the trigger and stuff. And it's like all that takes is a muscle spasm,
right.
Someone knocking into you, just the slightest thing, and that could be bad.
You think that's we maybe be a little bit late to the game if Alec Baldwin's watching this show? He could have probably benefited.
He could have probably benefited from that, but the more I've been hearing about that, the more I don't know about that one, man. That's a whole show on itself we're going to have to do.
Number 4, improper storage.
Yeah,
I take this as just maybe for kid safety.
Yep.
Or for reverse personal safety. If you're leaving your gun lay on your kitchen countertop while you're in bed downstairs.
Yep.
You're leaving that gun available to a possible intruder, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. Yeah. If the firearm is not in your immediate control, it needs to be locked up. Because if it's not in your control, whose control is it in? And it could be a bad guy. It could be a loved one who just isn't aware, a curious child. It's just,
yep.
Yeah.
I guess some respects, the keeping guns in a safe or a locked room or something like that would come into play, but not going too far where you still have the ability to defend yourself and your family and your house.
Yes.
By quick access.
Yep.
All right. Number 5, lack of personal training. This is I think this ranks up there real close to the top.
Yeah, it does. And okay, first and foremost, I'm a Second Amendment person. I don't think there should be honestly, there should be no government mandated requirements for you to own a firearm.
Agreed.
It's a God-given right. The Second Amendment actually does not give us that right. The Second Amendment actually protects the government from infringing on that right, which is endowed upon us by our Creator. So,
amen.
The reality, though, with after saying all that, owning a firearm, there is a level of responsibility that you owe to yourself and to the common man. Get training. You don't have to go out and get the John Wick School of Firearms operation, but at least get some basic knowledge, basic understanding of how your particular firearm works. Basics of firearm safety, shooting. If nothing else, it will make you just better able to operate it, and it'll go a long way, just for safety for yourself and others.
I think it says on the little blurb underneath this one that studies have shown that you really don't gain that muscle memory and real knowledge of how your firearm works until you've thrown close to 1,000 rounds through it.
Yep.
That's a good start, especially if you've never fired guns before. It's your first gun. Make sure you spend the money to throw some close to 1,000 rounds through it. Not all in one day. Shooting 1,000 rounds in a day,
that's pointless, actually.
It is. It has to be repetition. Another thing they put in here is utilizing fake ammo to practice clearing jams. That's important.
That's important, yeah.
For those of maybe some people that anything from women that have never utilized firearms to people that have always had revolvers. Learning how to rack a semi-auto isn't something that correlates with anything else in life. I mean, it's just not a natural movement.
No, it's not. It's unique in and of itself. Yes.
That requires practice.
Yep.
Number 6, failing to educate family members. I think this ties into one of the earlier ones.
Yeah. There again, that's part of the education. A lot of people make the mistake; they'll buy a firearm and then they'll hide it from their family.
That's an interesting
which
take.
I find odd. Or they'll do the thing with, well, I've got a little child, so I want to make sure that they don't know about it.
Well, if you live in someplace like Chicago or some of the worst states, if that child goes and tells their teacher that there's a gun in it,
well, okay,
that's a real.
There could actually be a risk with that. Yes, from the Big Brother.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
That's true. That is actually a valid point. But by and large, if you have a firearm in the house, everyone in the family should know some basics about it. And I'm just going to go out and say this, if you think that someone in your family represents a risk if there's a firearm that they could get a hold of, you probably shouldn't have one.
Good point.
I mean, I'm all for Second Amendment, I'm all for firearms, I'm all for freedom, but you also have to be smart.
I know in my generation, and probably your generation, that we were more exposed probably to guns growing up than today's generation. I think that should not be glossed over. If you have children, they need to be shown the destructive power of a gun, because all they have exposure to without you being a parent and going out there and showing them the safe handling of a gun and what destructive power a gun can have. All they see is video games where you have 9 lives and you just pop right back up after you've been shot. We have to take into account that has some sort of effect on how they perceive guns.
No,
and if they don't understand, if they don't have a perception of gun can end your life, a gun can do this type of thing, never ever point it into anything that you don't, all that stuff. If they don't have that visual and that mental instruction, then even when they're adolescents or growing to adults, they're not going to pick it up until something very horrible happens. And that's how they're going to learn their lesson. And nobody wants to learn a lesson that way.
No, that's very well said.
All right, 7, wrong ammunition. I guess it can happen, right?
It happens more than what you would think, actually.
Should I throw myself under the bus on the RG10? Remember that one?
That's I'd forgotten about that until you just mentioned it.
This can happen. RG10, is that up here? Yeah, right here. Oh,
Yeah, just don't touch it.
RG10, actually, we tried shooting 22 long. I tried shooting 22 longs through it first, not realizing it was a short.
Yeah, just since you went ahead and brought it up, I'll go ahead. So, was it hard to shoot for any particular reason?
Oh, yes. It took me a couple seconds, all right, a couple minutes to figure out that the end of the 22, the bullet of the 22 LR was longer than the cylinder, so it wouldn't let it rotate.
Yes.
And I just sat there and what the hell is going on?
But you muscled through and you got that cylinder.
I muscled through on one or two shots and had some shards shooting out the side. Felt little speckles of lead, you know.
Yeah, and
So.
actually, 22 long rifle, and 22 short, you're a little forgiving with that. If you make a mistake, not as bad.
Little self-deprecating anecdote there. Please don't be too mean to me in the comments below. I know I was a dumbass, but I learned my lesson. So.
Yeah, but you go above 22 though,
Then it becomes a
then
problem.
that becomes a real serious problem where you could actually have a catastrophic failure of the firearm.
One of the things they mention in this blurb is that there has been past instances of people mistaking 45 ACP, 45 gap, 45 long Colt.
Yep.
They do not intermix.
That is correct. And it doesn't help the fact that, okay, you've got your 9mm. You got 9mm short, 9mm Largo, 9x23, 9x21, 38 Super, which looks just like, 9x23. It can be confusing, and for someone who's new, ask the questions. When you buy a firearm, ask the store person where you're buying it from, what ammunition does this take? And then pay attention to what they say, and then only, make sure you buy the right stuff.
And there's this cool thing called YouTube.
And there's lots of information out there. Yep.
Awesome channel called Craig's Gun Channel that probably has your gun on a video that Craig has laid out all the specifications you need on it. So check it out.
Yep.
All right, number 8. This is one that I did not think about prior to this, but it makes perfect sense, and I'm going to have you expound on it. But wrong or cheaply made holsters.
Actually, yeah. Cheap holsters. Okay, let's go back, because the cheap holsters and wrongly made holsters are kind of the same thing because they cause the same problem.
That's fair.
A holster, it does more than just hold your firearm. It also is supposed to cover certain parts, primarily the trigger, to make sure that there's nothing that's going to cause an accidental discharge. A improperly fitted holster can actually cause the firearm to go off when you're putting the gun in the holster. It actually happens more often than what you think it would. There's actually a video I saw. I don't know. It can't have been too long ago because I remember it. But it was a police officer that was off duty, and he had his personal sidearm and a holster. So he's someone that knows firearms, handles guns. He had on a hoodie, and it had the drawstring on the bottom. Well, when he went to holster his gun, the drawstring from his hoodie got caught in the holster, and he holstered the gun. Well, that drawstring got caught in between it got through the trigger guard somehow, or around the trigger, and when he holstered the gun and pushed it down into the holster, it actually pulled the trigger. He shot himself in the leg. That holster really wasn't fitted quite properly, because a properly fitted holster would help to prevent that. But that could still happen because that's a foreign object that's gotten into the holster. Quality holsters are worth the money for that reason. Cheap holsters, usually they're a multi-fit thing. You pick up the package, it's like, oh look, this name. There's some name brand ones too. I won't name them, but okay, I will. Uncle Mike's. They have these holsters. It's like, oh look, it's size C, and you look at the back, and there's like 85 different firearms that have fit in there, and they'll all slide into that. But it's like a flexible little nylon thing that doesn't provide, you could actually just kind of squeeze the gun through the holster and pull the trigger if you really tried to. So, you know, you get what you pay for. Get a good quality holster that's fitted to your gun, and it's just a lot safer.
This number 9 is not learning about firearm laws. This is maybe something that gets overlooked in this, but very important.
Yes, that is. There's a lot of people that not okay. In Ohio, it doesn't happen as much now because we have constitutional carry. But prior to that, and even when we first had our concealed carry licenses, people were getting into trouble because you have to know the laws. When they first passed our concealed carry law in Ohio, you could have your concealed carry permit, you could carry your gun concealed, but when you got in your car to drive, you weren't allowed to have your gun concealed on you. You had to have it, you couldn't actually have it on your person. It had to be still locked away, you know. It was all kinds of goofy.
Right.
And so people were like inadvertently breaking that law all the time. Another real common one, people go to the gun store, they'll go in, they'll buy a gun, they'll buy a box of ammo, they'll go in, they'll put it in their car, and they'll drive off. Okay, they're breaking the law.
Right.
Because they have ready access to both the firearm and the ammunition under their control while they're operating the vehicle. That's illegal in most states. There again, Ohio now, we have constitutional carry, so you'd kind of be okay. But so you need to really be aware because you might be breaking the law and not even realize it.
Yep. It's would it be safe to recommend that there are classes of how to interact if you're being pulled over with a concealed weapon and stuff like that? Would it be safe to recommend to our newer gun owners to get into one of these classes? I think Safe Shield, or what's the insurance companies that they have online classes that walk you through?
Yeah.
CCC.
You've asked me too fast now. I can't remember it.
There's 2 or 3 of them out there that are widely recognized and used. I'm not condoning them, and I'm not saying that you need to sign up for their insurance. However, they do have a lot of good literature on reciprocity. They've got good videos on how to interact with or what to do in the case of having to discharge your firearm, etc. Law Shield is one of them.
Yeah, Law Shield's one of them. I think, is it USCCA?
That's it, USCCA. All of these have have just a plethora. There's the word for the day. Plethora of utility information and videos and etc. that'll help you navigate your own state's gun laws, which is very important.
I hope you've enjoyed this clip from the Craig's Gun Channel Random Shots program. The program airs Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Random Shots, we discuss content from ranging anything from preparedness, survival, politics, firearms, basically anything that's 2A related, with sometimes some rabbit trails on things that aren't related at all. If you enjoy this type of programming, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when we release new content. And if you like it, hit the like button and share us if you would as well. It helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow and helps get our message out. So I guess until next time, stay safe.